if that's the society that you're looking for, I'll guarantee you it's going to be about 5 minutes that right after you get that jurisdiction set up exactly the way you want it, most of you are going to be leaving it because
New York, California.
Yeah, I mean, it's already happening right on a mass scale, and all of your policies have not even been fully instituted.
Culture Corner. So apparently, ex-Marine or current Marine?
I believe.
Ex-Marine choked out a African-American homeless person that was disturbing the peace.
Correct.
On a train in New York City.
Subway, I believe, yes.
It was a train underground. Fair enough?
Yeah, I think.
Well, who knows? Maybe they were on one of those old-timey carts where they were just passing with their
one of the
sticks and the
facts
big
that's
bandage.
not critical to the story.
Right, exactly. So, disturbing the peace, guy steps in, chokehold, holds it for a little too long, man passes away. So, insert problem here.
Yes, this is what you've seen throughout the headlines, the Jordan Neely story, Jordan Neely being the homeless man, and Daniel Penny, Daniel the ex-Marine who choked him out, and then Neely ended up passing away. Now, this is a TV ready-made dinner of a race-baiting storyline, if you've ever heard one, which is exactly why all the mainstream media mouthpieces are pushing it. And why, even though this happened, I think a week ago, we've delayed in touching it a little bit because we don't like to engage in the race baiting, but
we want to make sure it's consensual.
There are important social talking points about this situation because the mainstream narrative is white ex-Marine chokes out black homeless guy who was clearly going through a mental, whether it be breakdown.
I believe they call that a psychotic episode.
Yes, psychotic episode, something of the sort. And that this is just another example of white on black crime, and that whites are, out to take down black people, and that when in the rare instance that the white guy is caught, that he doesn't face justice or whatever, because now within the last 24 to 48 hours of when we're recording this episode, Daniel Penny, the ex-Marine, has now been arrested and is facing second-degree manslaughter charges. And that gets into an interesting discussion about the pro-Jordan Neely side and what those people want, because none of us can figure it out. Because it wasn't 5 minutes ago that the same people now protesting, shutting down subways in favor of Jordan Neely, saying, basically string up Daniel Penny, were the same people that were saying, defund the police, get rid of the police, blah, 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 right? Police are all terrible and bad. We have our own opinions on that, but we're just getting into what they say. Police are all bad. Okay, so police are all bad. We need to disarm the general population. Most of these people support gun control in some form or fashion. And now citizens are not even supposed to defend themselves with their bare hands. Now, again, I know by me classifying it as defense is going to be this terrible thing that I'm doing. But so I want to be clear about what the facts were. Jordan Neely was basically walking around the subway car saying things that were indicative of him being unhinged, potentially having nothing to lose, and not being altogether uncomfortable with going to jail. He was saying things to the effect of, I'm hungry, I don't have anything, I'm tired of not having anything, I'm ready to go to jail, that would be better than, not having anything, and all this kind of stuff. And although there's no evidence or indication that he physically struck another passenger, he was not threatening anybody with violence or whatever, when Daniel Penny came up and put him in a chokehold from behind, that's where people are going to say, well, Penny doesn't have a self-defense argument because he wasn't personally threatened and he wasn't protecting anybody else from Jordan Neely. Where the facts of all of that lie, the question still remains, is if the Jordan Neely side says no cops, no guns to defend yourself, no anything else, well, what happens? Do we just wait for the next Jordan Neely to act on his words of hopelessness and actually take them out on other people before you're allowed to do anything? And by then, might it be too late? Like, what is society supposed to do in this situation, David? I don't know what these people want. And by these people, I mean the anti-gun, the anti-police, the race-baiting crowd in general on the Jordan Neely side.
A long time ago. Longer now for some. the lyric in it was, nobody sees others' blood quite as well as their own. And the thing is it's kind of like that mayor of Portland that said this was going to be the summer of love, and let Chaz be this new breed of society, a city growing up within one of the most, forward-thinking, liberal-minded cities in America. So he was all peace and love, even though within the first week of Chaz, they had already segregated themselves, and within the first 2 weeks of it, there had been multiple murders. He didn't really bat an eye. He's like, you know what? They'll figure it out. Until they started throwing Molotov cocktails on his yard. Then he says, we need to get these savages. Jesus Christ. So it's always really easy to say how great things are, to sit in your gated community and be like, you know what? This is systemic racism. How dare they do this? Well, why don't you give away all of your funds to help the community that you're so downtrodden? Oh, you won't do that? It's like when Billie Eilish came out and she was upset that she made so much money because now that she's been shot into this stratosphere of stardom and monetary affluency, that she can't identify with her fans anymore. Well, I got a simple solution there, Billy. Just give all your money away. Just give it away. Just give it out. That'd help you get poor right with the rest of them.
Well, and what's going to happen? And like you said, they have their protest slogans, and words actually mean something. And I'm assuming, since the ones that do the protesting are so loud, it seems like their numbers are much more than they are. But maybe they'll get their way absolutely policy-wise in some jurisdiction around the country. What that jurisdiction is going to look like is this: little or no policing. Nobody with guns except for criminals, because again, criminals don't care about the law. We beat that point to death, but they don't seem to care about that one. And any potential would-be Good Samaritan who sees somebody, whether having a psychotic break or some other motivation, beating the shit out of some, defenseless person, whether they be male, female, child, doesn't matter, is not going to step in, because they're going to be like, I don't want to be Daniel Penny. I don't want to accidentally kill. And again, maybe Penny did it on purpose. And again, let the jury of his peers decide. And it seems like they will. That is what it is. But if that's the society that you're looking for, I'll guarantee you it's going to be about 5 minutes that right after you get that jurisdiction set up exactly the way you want it, most of you are going to be leaving it, because
New York, California.
Yeah, I mean, it's already happening right on a mass scale, and all of your policies have not even been fully instituted. But still, the point is, like, you want a society of defenseless people who are the ones that are defenseless are the ones that wouldn't break the rules anyway, right? And in favor of the ones who don't care what the rules are regardless, and think that that's somehow going to work out well for you. It's not. And so you're creating an entire society of unintentional cowards, in the sense that already most of the time, when a fight breaks out, right, it's this like world star mentality. People's first inclination is pull out your phone and film it. And now,
don't do anything. Don't help any side, but just make sure you record.
If there's that rare one person in a crowd of 100 who would be willing to step in and break it up, and yes, sometimes that requires, physically restraining somebody. And sometimes that physical restraint might go too far and injure the person being restrained more than the restrainer wanted to in the first place. But that one person in 100 that might have existed before, you're now saying that person's not going to exist anymore, because every person that is aware of the Daniel Penny story is going to have that in the back of their mind. I'm not stepping in. This ain't my problem. He's not threatening me. He's not punching me. I can defend myself if he comes at me. I'm just staying out of it. You handle your own shit. So listen, either you all start taking self-defense classes, and I mean getting really good at it so you can defend yourself, or maybe walk back a bit on the political rhetoric that you want to regurgitate from your betters to divide and conquer the rest of us with this race baiting, anti-gun nonsense. Because that's really what it is. Your political betters, the ones that rule you, are forming these narratives for you, and you're just mindlessly regurgitating them, thinking you're some sort of, social justice warrior activist, fighting for justice and common decency. No, you're just a useful idiot that is playing right into the divide and conquer strategy that's keeping us all at each other's throats instead of looking at them, the ones that are really causing the problems, the ones in power. And if we all came together and looked at them and realized they're the problem, then a lot of these societal issues that you complain about would be fixed.
And by the way, while you're feeling good about that, just remember when the shit does inevitably hit the fan, they're still going to have their guns.
Absolutely.
But you won't.